Aloha and welcome to Java. This is Wednesday. Thank you for joining me. It's July 10th, 2024. Got a few things I'd like to cover with you, so let's get started. Starting with the markets and the risk indicators. Hovering around level, they didn't move too much yesterday. We had Fed Chair Powell begin testimony. Didn't expect a lot of movement yesterday, and as it was, stayed relatively stable. So the risk indicator still high territory. Greed for the fear greed index still got people piling and bringing their money into the stock market. So went green yesterday, record all-time highs again. What we're expecting today, we're watching that 10-year yield and the relative strength of the dollar. So I expect those both to increase a little bit today. So basically, we've got the Wednesday chop session in order. So we've got cryptocurrencies are continuing their growth again in strength, going towards that 60,000 for Bitcoin. I expect to see a bit of resistance there, but it's still growing until it meets there. So we've got the rate cut prospects. Basically, these start sounding dovish, like more rate cuts are much more likely, giving it more opportunity. That would boost stocks even more. That's basically what happened yesterday. We've got more reports coming out tomorrow, and the elections are looking at ahead. So with these testimonies ending today for Powell, and then they will have some questions. They'll allow him to speak a little bit more about the rates, which really, in the larger picture now, have already been priced in and don't matter as much. We've got the basically inflationary spending of the government and in Congress, which is kind of undermining all of this. So today we'll have a softer trading session, likely ahead of the reports, and then we'll see a little bit of volatility and some chop coming in because it's going to be a little correction today. So we've got the markets at the moment still green, showing volatility down, and the futures are also in agreement that it's green, more people coming into the stock market. So today, really just watching his testimony, the questions they will ask after. We've got a 10-year note auction. I'll be watching that very closely, not just how the auction goes, but who is purchasing it. Because as you'll know, the treasuries, Fed can print and are buying our own debt now in the United States, and China is beginning to do the same. So we've got crude oil inventories, also watching those. Now, energy and crude under pressure. The hurricane and weather that came through left the refineries alone, so expecting oil to continue under pressure for a bit. Still long term, watching for an increase. So we've got the Bank of England is watching risk transfers in the insurance sector. And we've been speaking about insurance for some time, and I expect this to increase, possibly go parabolic, especially in light of what's going on. I've got more to talk about this. So insurance companies really are going to be in the focus here coming up, I would say, the next month or so and until the end of the quarter. So we've got some of what they're saying economic warning signs. We've been speaking about this for a while. It's actually in the job market. And they're finally looking at the trends. The trends are down. More so, they're looking simply at the number of jobs that are coming out. And there's more to it than that. The United States, cities, hiring cities, counties, and the government in general heating up as private sector growth cools. So basically, what's happening? Businesses going out, consolidating, firing, cutting costs, and outsourcing to other countries. Well, we've got the United States and also state governments are becoming the ones that are hiring. This is unsustainable. Why? Because the private sector are the ones that pay the taxes in order to pay those government workers. So once they hit that over 50% market, it's completely unsustainable. And we're heading deeper into that territory, very similar to the debt situation. So Another story I wanted to bring up, this ties in with the insurance. We had a cargo ship evacuated. They were hitting 33-foot waves off of the South African coast. Now, they have to take this route because it is basically, they're avoiding all of the conflict and getting attacked going through the northern area in the Red Sea. So, with all of this going on, this is going to be increased cost. You've got another crew. They abandoned their vessel, and now this is going to hit across the board as they all realize and have to factor in higher shipping costs and larger losses in what they're expecting to be a much larger weather season for this area in particular. So we've also got on the other side, if you're looking in the eastern trading area, Singapore container ships, logjam spilling over into the Malaysian port. So if the ships cannot move from one area to another, that's what they do. That's highly inflationary, higher costs, and it will be priced in to all of the goods and services. So with all of this deflation talk coming in, prices coming down, this is going to be an issue here and feed basically all at once. The timing of this is what's important, in my opinion, because as we watch shipping, that is the basically the global engine. First, you have your manufacturing, then you have to get your goods someplace. And if either one of those hits bottleneck, that's a serious problem. Okay, so moving on from this, let's go into the money sector of it. We've got the Bank of Israel waiting for the digital euro ahead of the digital shekel. So digital euro very quietly coming into play. And if you ask most people, they aren't even aware of this. They'll just be quietly shifted over to it. So we had Iran proposing to link all BRICS nations into a singular payment system. They're working on this. Russia, in particular, is taking the lead. So they're going to have basically, don't know if you can call it a central bank digital currency, simply because it doesn't have a major bank behind it, so to speak, but it's kind of heading that direction. So cryptocurrency, I want to talk about this. Bitcoin, they suppressed the price massively over the last few days. And I was speaking about it being a very good price to buy. Well, who bought at that time? Now they're coming out. The Bitcoin ETFs. Who owns these? BlackRock, Fidelity. They purchased over 654 million in Bitcoin within those 3 days. So as they're scooping it up, I'm telling you, they are trying to shake out the weak hands, get Bitcoin out of the hands of quote unquote regular people and getting them into their ETFs. So think about that for a bit, please. We've got back to this. This is all one related story. WorldCoin. This is the one that was scanning irises. This is Sam Altman. If you don't recognize him, he also heads OpenAI, artificial intelligence. They stepped in with Microsoft, who also now stepped in with Apple. So you've got artificial intelligence. They had someone from Microsoft on the board of OpenAI, so basically controlling it. Well, they're getting in trouble with that because even though they're not directly controlling the company, regulation is stepping in saying they've got monopoly. And I agree with that because they're basically, there's a lot going on in the background. If you've been here for some time, you know what I'm talking about. But they are massively looking at tokenization, not just of assets, also treasuries, all financial instruments, and expanding to commodities, goods, services, and eventually people. So this sounds a bit extended, but I explain a bit more. Stay with, or feel free to ask questions in the comments. So we've got him expanding again with this WorldCoin. They are now inviting basically devs to build ahead of what they're doing as their main net launch, building on this system and then looking to integrate. Now, this WorldCoin cryptocurrency system with the biometrics and also the largest artificial intelligence that they're building, and they have removed their safety mechanisms. So I cannot stress enough how important it is to keep an eye on this. So I will bring this up. I know I've spoken about this story before, but it's really critical, hitting critical points. So with that, let's go into physical wars, which are also diminishing in importance in my mind, but they're still large. We've got NATO making promises to Ukraine for the air defense pledge. And the important part is, large part of this is coming from the United States. The quote that really caught my attention did come from the president of the US. He said basically that the United States will make sure that when they export critical defense interceptors, Ukraine goes to the front of the line. They will get this assistance before anyone else gets it. This should raise some red flags. If I were Taiwan or Japan, who have been close allies for some time, or any of the others, basically, I would question this. So there's a lot more going on in the background with this as well. So with this, we've also got fuming EU partners to show Hungary Prime Minister Orban a yellow card. They're very upset at him because he is basically trying to broker peace deals in Ukraine, and that will not be allowed. So as he's stepping and speaking with Russia, this is angering them all, and they're saying they're uh, stepping up their spending, stepping up their contributions to Ukraine, rather than watching someone that will speak peace between the two. So very interesting on that end. We also had a smaller story. They're keeping this one very quiet. Cuba is now coming out saying that they have thwarted a US-financed terror plot. So the individual that they caught is tied in with the group. They've been watching them for some time, and he is originally Cuban national that is now a United States citizen living in Florida. They're moving basically weaponry and then also threatening um, individuals, and also under the guise of as a terror group. Uh, just terrible things. And this is all to basically destabilize Cuban government, because now they are also creating ties with Russia. So this is how things are done in the real world. It's not as clean as it seems on the table. So with all of this, I'd like to urge you all to become self-sufficient as always. Get some chickens for pets. They're not so bad. If you got a bit of a yard, uh, they're quite cool to have. So until I see you again, my friends, stay free.